them all mixed up, Rube.
Dave doesn't know what day it is. He doesn't know where we were at practice. He doesn't know what time it is.
It's dark out right now.
It's weird. Yeah.
We just watched the practice.
Yeah.
Very strange. Eagles got their first joint practice in with the Browns this evening. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro, a disoriented Dave Zangaro. 5 o'clock practice. Doesn't take much to throw me off, but that's enough.
Yeah, it's weird because Kevin Stefanski was asked about the format, and he said, well, we're the guests here, so it's up to the Eagles. But the Eagles' normal schedule is 10 o'clock. And Nick told us the other day that was to accommodate the Browns. So I'm not really sure why we're even doing this at 5 o'clock. It was pretty hot when they started.
It was hot.
Cooled off a little.
I'm curious to see what happens Tuesday. There's some rain in the forecast in the late afternoon, early evening. So so let's start with that. To you, when does afternoon end and when does evening begin?
I mean, I always thought, like, technically, I guess 5:59 is the end of the afternoon and 6 o'clock is the evening. But I think more of the afternoon is ending at 5.
Because I kept asking people, because in my observations, I wanted to write Eagles practice against the Browns on Monday, fill in the blank. And I eventually went with evening.
It ended in the evening. I'd say it started in the afternoon. Because we were out there at 4. There were already players out there at 4:15. To me, that's afternoon. Even though the official start of practice was 5.
Yeah. There
were guys engaged before that. It's a tough call.
Very tough call. We have a bunch of observations.
We'll get a lot of letters to the editor over that.
From this practice. It's a little tough to see everything, so we split up fields. Rube watched the Eagles defense more today. I watched the offense more. I'm sure we'll switch tomorrow and go from there. But you want to just get into observations from this practice? Yeah, let's do it. Start with some housekeeping stuff. The Eagles made a roster move. They signed a defensive tackle. Oh, man, I should have looked up how to pronounce his name before coming on here. It's spelled Olive.
You think it's more like Olive?
It could be Olive.
Let me see here.
I don't know. Sagapalu played at Wisconsin. He's bounced around a few different teams. He's never actually played.
Olive.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I figured Olive wasn't. That's such a. Yeah, it can't be olive.
Like Popeye, right?
Yeah,
olive oil?
Olive oil. Yeah.
This guy, he's not olive oil.
No.
He's about 350 pounds more than olive oil.
Yeah, and he's stout too. He's just low to the ground. He's like 6'2".
6'2", 335 is listed.
It's a lot of weight for 6'2".
Yeah, big dude.
Yeah. So he was out there for the first time.
Just played in the USFL.
Yeah, played in the USFL. He's been in with a bunch of teams and training camps and practice squads and stuff, but he's never actually played in a regular season game. So he's, long shot to make the team, but you never know. He's not going to make the team. Sean Bradley put on IR with that Achilles tear. Rough news for him. We knew he was hurt on the post-game pod. Didn't know the extent of it just yet, but it was obviously pretty significant. That's a shame for him.
Yeah, it really is. Good special teamer. Fun guy to be around. And
contract year for him, too.
Contract year for him. 4th year rookie deal. He won't be healthy. Well, March, no, he won't be healthy when free agency starts. So he's a guy that's going to have to, it's going to be a tough road for him. But,
I could see him rehabbing the Eagles, bring him back for camp.
And he'll
next
do
year.
his rehab here since he got hurt here, even if his contract has lapsed.
Yeah.
That's the way the CBA is written. They don't kick you out to a different rehab place. But, yeah, tough break. And it hurts their special teams, which granted they weren't great, but he played the most reps on special teams over the last few years, and they'll miss that.
Yeah, and he probably would have been on the team. He's a guy we don't really talk about a lot because he doesn't really factor into their plans ever on defense. He never really has, but he was probably going to make the team as the last linebacker, and he would have played special teams. And, that's a unit that needs all the help it can get.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, injuries.
Sagapolu, for people who care, wearing 66.
Yes, thank you.
People care about that stuff.
I know. It's just funny that you're the one who mentioned it because I know you care less than anyone in the world about it. I also noticed a while back, no one seemed to take note, but Dennis Kelly changed his number from 72 to 79. Chim Okorafor got cut. He had 79. Okorafor now with the Vikings.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with that, Jim. And I just have a hunch 79 will be available again pretty soon.
That's possible.
We'll see. Sorry, Dennis.
Practice injury report today. Britton Covey, Patrick Johnson, Quez Watkins, all not practicing. We know about Patrick Johnson. He's had that ankle for a while now. Less serious than we thought on the field, which is good, but he's still just watching practice, not on the side field or anything.
And one note on this, when training camp started, the Eagles had little designations next to the injuries, like day-to-day or whatever. They don't do that anymore. They stopped doing that. So we don't know how serious anybody is. Yeah. And they won't tell us.
I would think Covey and Quez are hamstrings, so it's probably not serious, but it's going to –
They can linger.
They can linger.
Yeah.
So both of those guys, they missed the game, and that was the explanation from Nick Sirianni after the game that they had hamstring injuries.
Even though they were never on the injury report.
Yeah. They must have done it in the last practice. Right. Deion Kane limited, so he's working his way back. A long way to go for him, but good news. And then Landon Dickerson left.
Working his way back to you. 4 seasons. It's 4 seasons. Hit single.
Going to let us sit in this one for a while.
Just saying. I don't know. Underrated band for me.
All right.
Bob Gaudio wrote all their hits. Do you know that?
I didn't.
Bob Gaudio wrote all their hits. Not Frankie Valli. Bob Gaudio. From North Jersey. You can carry on now.
No, I want us to think about this for a while. I want you to think about what you've done.
Because to me, Bob Gaudio is one of those really super underrated guys. Like, nobody knows who Bob Gaudio is, but he was the genius behind all those hit singles by the 4 seasons.
Did he run track or something?
No.
Okay. Landon Dickerson
a little bit.
left practice early. Didn't look too serious. He had his left ankle taped after practice. He was walking around. So
he was walking around after practice outside on the fields, even though he'd gone in, which tells you he's fine.
Yeah, probably. He missed really like the second half of team drills. And we'll get to some of the depth chart notes now. It was Suapeta out there first, and then Josh Sills got bumped up.
Yeah.
You make anything of that?
I think Sills is ahead of Sua.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't think today is any indication. Sua's been here for 3 years. Sills has been back for 3 days. So kind of they seem to show some deference that way. We'll see.
Sidney Brown got some first-team reps.
He did more than I've seen him get.
I don't think he's ever really gotten true first-team reps. There have been a few days where it looks like he'll get out there, but you can tell when a guy really gets first-team reps. And it seemed like today was more legitimate.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And look good. It looked comfortable.
I think he earned them based on the way he played Saturday
I like the way
night.
he played.
I went back and watched, and he flashed just as much in the rewatch as he did live.
Yeah.
He was flying around.
He was.
Without Quez, we saw Olamide work with the first team in the slot. No surprise there, but this is a big opportunity for him. After a pretty slow start to camp, he started to heat up a little bit last week. Now he's going to get a bunch of first-team reps in these joint practices we know they care about. I still don't think he has enough time to pass Quez. Based on the lead, it looked like he built up, but you never know.
Might depend on how long Quez is out. Also, we're only 4 weeks from the opener, so we'll see. I thought Zacchaeus actually had some nice catches today, from what I saw looking over across the field.
It looked okay in one-on-ones. Didn't really notice him in team.
Okay. Yes, that's what I saw. A lot of one-on-ones before I went over.
Okay. Nakobe Dean. Well, he's built for one-on-ones.
It's true.
It's like those one-on-ones are already slanted
Yeah.
toward the receivers, and then a guy like that, especially if he gets up against a bigger corner, it's almost unfair. I'll never forget seeing Braxton Miller at Senior Bowl in 2017, and I thought this dude was going to change the NFL. And then it was a good lesson for me that you cannot run like triple and quadruple moves in one-on-one drills and expect it to translate to games.
Braxton was here, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice guy.
Nice guy. The
Couldn't play a lick.
career didn't work out. Well, I wouldn't say that. He had a good college career.
Well, yeah, but
it didn't translate.
Couldn't play a lick on this level. Ohio State, right?
Yeah. Quarterback turned receiver.
Yeah.
I think if I recall, like we were talking about that with Greg Ward all those years ago. That's how long Greg Ward has been.
Did
here.
you see Greg Ward throw football today?
No, I didn't.
He threw it like 60 yards in the air.
Still slinging a little bit.
He said he actually was talking to me. He actually said, I really miss those days. He was talking about being a quarterback at Houston. I really miss those days.
He was an electric quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fun to watch.
We'll talk about him in a bit.
Sure. Linebackers, Nakobe Dean and Nicholas Morrow at the end of practice, they were the two out there. What were they doing during earlier team drills?
It was Nakobe and Morrow. Yeah.
Okay. They rotated all?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of those guys have been getting the bulk of them. We've seen Christian Ellis rotate in a lot. Last week, we saw the new guys, Miles Jack, get a few. Zach Cunningham hasn't gotten any yet, but curious to see where that goes.
Zach Cunningham must have gotten at least one because he deflected that ball that Reed Blankenship picked off.
Okay. Yeah. So but that was in 707s.
That was in sevens.
Yeah, that's not,
Right.
The team drills are where we really figure that out. So, all right, I'll go through the actual observations from the day. At least the highlight for me, or maybe the low light for the Eagles offense, was that Browns defensive line beat him up today. It was noticeable. And like Myles Garrett, 1-on-1 against Jordan Mailata, Garrett did some damage today. And that's a tough matchup for anyone. I think Garrett is the best edge player in the league. And I know there's some disagreement about that, but he's one of the best.
He's one of the best three.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup. And he got the better of Mailata. But it wasn't just him. It was a lot of that. The first team offense couldn't get anything going because the Browns were just in the backfield. They were forcing Jalen off his spot. He was scrambling. The only big plays they had with their ones on offense were when Jalen scrambled and made something happen and threw on the run. And even those, it's tough to tell if they're sacks or if those plays are going to live on. And it's even tougher with a guy like Jalen.
Yeah. And I mean, it's good that they have that in their back pocket when they need it, but it's not really what you want to see at practice.
Yeah. Your best plays, like your only big play shouldn't be off schedule. That's fine some of the time, but I will say when those plays happened, he was making some impressive throws. Like these might not have really counted, but he was winging the ball, and it was Devontae working against Denzel Ward, who's a really good corner. But even Ward can't cover Devontae for 5-6 seconds.
Yeah. I saw Devontae make a couple nice catches, just trying to look across that one field to the other field.
Yeah, there was one in particular. Jalen scrambled to his left, threw it across his body, which, if you remember, like early in his career, that was something he really couldn't do very well. Yeah. He could roll right and throw going with the momentum, but like throwing across his body, going against momentum was something that he struggled with early in his career. And it's something not a lot of quarterbacks can do. So to see him do that with relative ease was impressive. And it was Ward trailing Smith on that one too.
Yep.
But Ward did pick off Jalen in 7-on-7s. It was a deep ball. It was a go route to Devontae Smith. Devontae had a step on Ward, and Jalen just underthrew it. So I think only his third interception of the summer.
I think so. Yeah.
Your observation here. We reached your guest observation. Tell me a little bit, though, just more than this about what you saw from the Eagles defense.
Well, one thing, and I didn't get into, and I'll go through what I did get into. I mentioned that Reed Blankenship pick off. It was off Josh Dobbs, who's their number 2. He was throwing to Anthony Schwartz, and Zach Cunningham batted the ball up in the air, and Blankenship picked it off. It was a nice play, but it was against the ones. Slay and Amari Cooper got some really good work against each other. They each got the best of each other on a couple snaps. The last time they matched up, Slay had great coverage on him, and Cooper had just beaten him for like a 20-yard gain on a corner route. But the next matchup, Slay had great coverage, and Watson threw the ball like 20 feet over his head. That was a really nice. It was good action. It was good work for both of them. But really, the best play on Amari Cooper was Avonte Maddox, who He just kind of came out of nowhere, stuck his right hand in front of it was about a 12-yard pass from Deshaun and batted the ball away. So that was cool. Vontae Maddox versus Amari Cooper is a little bit of a mismatch, but not really. I mean, Maddox held his own, and he's had a good camp. He's played well. The Browns run the ball really well, and it's not just Chubb either. I mean, they have some good backs. There was one that Terrell Edmonds just whiffed on. It was the running back was a guy named.
It's Terrell.
I know it is. It was Hassan Hall.
Oh,
and he just. It was kind of he had a couple of reps that were ugly. Edmonds did. There was another one where he got beat on a deep ball. He ended up on Anthony Schwartz and just wasn't in the play. It was a big play from Deshaun Watson to Schwartz. But they ran the ball a lot and ran the ball well. What else? I thought Keely Ringo had some really nice reps. There was one where actually Josh Dobbs threw a short out to Schwartz, and Keely Ringo just tackled him to the ground. He just got him on the sideline and just brought him down. It was like I couldn't help himself. And then Reed Blankenship had one of those too, where he was just a little more physical than he was supposed to be. So yeah, Kayvon had one too. Kayvon ran. I don't have my Browns roster in front of me. Jordan Akins, the tight end, had a big gain on Kayvon, and he just tackled him on the sideline. Kayvon had some nice plays too. So it was good work. I don't think it was a great practice for the Eagles ones, but it was definitely good work.
I heard some people talking about their defensive line. A few sacks. Sweat got one. Is that right?
I didn't see that snap.
Okay.
But yeah, I was kind of going back and forth for a while before I settled on that field. I was trying to watch the one-on-ones, and I just couldn't get a good angle on that field because they were kind of like way down in the middle of the field, and it was the middle field. But yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing. Deshaun Watson looked a lot better than he looked last year.
Yeah, a little rusty last year when we saw him.
He had just come back. Oh, but he'd been practicing, hadn't he? Was he practicing before that?
I don't know. Wasn't there?
Yeah, you were. No, last year I'm talking about. In Berea.
Yeah.
At joint practices.
It was the first day we got there.
But he was allowed to practice.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, but he looked good. It was good work. I mean, he's a talented kid.
He is. They got to figure that out, how that offense kind of meshes with him. But,
yeah.
I have a few more notes here before we talk about what we heard after practice. Tyree Cleveland caught a back shoulder pass from Mariota. Tyree Cleveland's just stacking days now, and I don't think there's a roster spot for him, but he looks the part.
He's a big, tall kid, knows how to use his frame. He's been in the league 3 years, so this isn't some rookie. He's played in the league. He's had a really good camp, and I think we probably talked about this before, but the talent level of this second group of receivers is really high. I guess you would include Greg Ward in that too, but Nagata, we've seen Hazelwood make some plays. Cleveland's pretty good. Deion Kane, before he got hurt, was making plays. And it's good work for the quarterbacks. So I've been impressed with Cleveland. Yeah,
I have been too. We'll see. Maybe the practice squad guy, you can keep him around if you have an injury. I think he could play. Whereas, he's not a super developmental guy. He's been around for a while.
Right.
So you keep him on the practice squad for a different reason. But, 5 years ago, the practice squad was only for developmental players, and it really isn't anymore. It's
about to keep 30 guys on there.
It's an extension of your active roster. So the Eagles kind of use it like that.
I mean, I think Nagata they would keep on the practice squad, but if you need a guy for a game, it would be Cleveland.
Yeah, I would think so. He's more game ready.
Yeah.
One-on-ones, you said you watched a little bit. A.J. Brown, I thought, had the nicest one. Caught a back shoulder against Martin Emerson Jr.
That was early?
Yeah, it was one of the first reps.
Yeah, I did see that.
Perfect placement down the left sideline from Jalen Hurts. And late hands from A.J., didn't tip it. looks really good. Apparently back from his wisdom teeth pulling.
Oh,
Did you see that video?
no.
He went on Instagram Live, all loopy. And
Loopier than normal.
yeah, and Devontae hopped on there on the chat, told me get off, get off live. I never had. I don't have wisdom teeth, so I never had this. Did you ever have surgery?
Well, yeah, I had him out.
You had them out.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything funny like from your? Because I always see these videos like people super loopy with the pain medicine and.
I mean, I don't think I was any loopier than normal. I don't know if people want to hear the story.
I don't know if I do the way you said that.
There were complications. Everything was fine, but yeah, it was. If anybody ever wants to hear the story, just ask me.
Okay, yeah, I will not be asking.
I just don't want to do this on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate.
I have too much respect for Eli.
Yeah, I get squeamish.
We don't want.
Okay.
We don't want you.
I don't have them though. Like yeah,
it's weird.
They're not there.
Maybe that explains it. No wisdom.
Yeah.
Teeth. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I wanted to make a note about the running backs. Eagles ran back-to-back plays with a running back out wide, and they kind of threw a bubble screen to them. So, like, we've talked so much about these running backs catching the ball out of the backfield on, like, wheel routes or Texas routes or whatever, but they're getting them lined up wide. They're getting them lined up in the slot, and I think there's opportunity there to find matchups they like at times. So we saw that a little bit today. They ran the first play to Swift on the right sideline, got a nice gain, and then they came back with it to Gainwell on the left sideline. That one got bottled up, but I like that play because it kind of becomes honestly, it's almost close to a running play. It's almost a backwards pass. It's not quite. It is forward, but it's that same idea. It's just get the ball to these guys and let them create. And we've seen them do that with the receivers. Like they'll do it with A.J. Brown. They did it foolishly with Quez a bunch last year. Really hurt his yards per catch numbers. Yeah. It's so funny. It hurt his yards per catch numbers to the point where you forget he's a deep threat because it was so bad. But
well, it didn't help that he dropped deep balls too. That hurt his average. But excuse me. I think really, I mean, maybe the biggest story of camp is the emphasis we're seeing on throwing the ball to the backs. It's going to be a major shift in the way they play offense.
Do you think it will be actually like when the games start?
I do.
I'm a little hesitant to really believe that because I still think their passing offense runs through the three guys it runs through.
Well, I agree with that, but I think there's room within that, to get Devontae and AJ and Goddard their touches and their catches, but also there's going to be a lot of room open underneath for these guys.
So, Rube, on the final period of practice, it's the most exciting part of practice. It's one field, Eagles offense goes first, then the Browns offense, and it's the most game-like it gets because everyone is around the same field watching it. And I thought the Eagles offense got off to a better start. Jalen Hurts hit Dallas Goedert quickly for a couple passes, and he hit A.J. Brown for like a 10-yard out. Then they stalled a little bit, but at least they showed some signs of life after really getting pressured for the entire practice before then.
Yeah, and when there's pressure, throw it to Goddard. Get the ball out quickly to Goddard. I wanted that period to go a little longer.
I know. It's the most fun.
It was fun. It was short. It wasn't, and it was 10 minutes before we were told practice was going to end. And that was it. I wanted to see some more of it, but there were some good things in that period, I thought.
Yeah. And then the Eagles defense looked pretty good. Amari Cooper dropped a couple balls, and it was funny because when he dropped them, I thought, that's kind of rare for him to drop passes. I looked it up. He dropped 12 last year.
I didn't realize that until I read that in your obs.
12
that's a lot.
Drop passes last year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He's probably targeted 200 times.
Yeah. And then the period ended with a Jalen Carter sack. Looked like good pressure from not just him. This is interesting. Derek Barnett lined up inside. I honestly think his best reps this camp have come inside. I don't know what that means, but I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to use him that I don't think we've seen before. At least not
a lot.
I don't remember seeing it. I mean, he hasn't played in a while, but he has had some good rushes from inside.
Yeah, and he is still the most likely to get in a fight on on Tuesday.
I couldn't believe he didn't get in a fight today.
Who? Okay. Give me, we didn't prepare for this. Give me your top, you want to go 3 or 5?
Whatever you want.
Top 5 most likely players to start a fight on Tuesday. And I'll give you 5 after you're done. They might be the same. They might be different. And whoever's guy starts, we'll do a little draft here, okay?
All right, let's do a draft.
We'll do a draft. I'll give you the first pick. And if one of our guys starts the fight, we win a prize to be named later.
Okay. I'm going to I pick first?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you Barnett. I'm going to take Kayvon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready to go.
Kayvon's a good pick. I don't love that you're giving me.
You don't have to take Barnett.
Oh, no, I do. I'm taking Derek Barnett.
So now you get the next pick. We do like 2.
Oh, do a snake a little
Yeah,
bit?
a little snake.
Now this one's risky because I don't know if he'll be back out there.
Yeah.
But I'm going Landon.
Yeah.
Landon Dickerson has a mean streak to him. We saw him crush Barnett last week. Last year in Cleveland, he smoked that dude. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And that's what led to a little scuffle.
Yeah.
So I'm a little risky there because he left practice early and he might not be back for day 2, but I'll take my chances.
Yeah, that's a good one. Even if he's 50% to play,
Mm-hmm.
even if he's limited, even if he only does stretch, he might still get into a fight.
And now if he gets into a fight and he doesn't actually practice, I win everything.
Double the prize.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Mulata because I think he might have been a little frustrated.
That's fair.
After today.
He got beat up by Myles Garrett a little bit. Maybe he's feeling it.
Yeah. I'm going to go Mulata and a linebacker. I'm going to go Zach Cunningham.
I thought you were just going to say Zach Brown. Go back in time.
Go Zach Cunningham.
Okay, so I get 2 picks now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sidney Brown.
Ooh.
I saw him jawing a little bit during a special teams drill.
Okay.
So I think there might be a little something there. I need another one. It's got to be someone who's like disgruntled. I need like a kind of an angry. Patrick Johnson would be a great one if he wasn't hurt. But he's been not practicing. I'm taking my time. I know. I'm sorry about this.
Just pick a guy.
This is very important. I will go with Justin Evans.
Oh. I was not expecting that. I'm going to go Reed Blankenship.
Okay, and your last pick?
And Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. He seems kind of passive. Not when he plays, but like his demeanor, personality. Maybe he flips the switch a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a silent assassin.
Okay. So I have my last pick here.
1 pick, yeah.
I'm going to go with a lineman. I'm going to go with...
I like how Dave sets up his pick. I'm going to go with a lineman.
I'm milking it because I don't know who I'm going to pick here.
Well, now it's got to be a lineman now.
It's got to be a lineman. I've locked myself into
Just
that.
pick like Tanner McKee.
I'll go with Sua.
Interesting.
I like these.
So you have 2 safeties, 2 left guards.
I have Derek Barnett. That's all I need.
2 safeties and 2
I've got
left guards.
Babe Ruth in the middle of my lineup here.
I like Kayvon. I think it's going to be Kayvon.
Okay.
In fact, Kayvon might fight Barnett.
Who wins then?
We both will.
Who's the least likely to get in a fight?
Ian Book.
He's not getting any reps, so it'd be tough. And that's another indication that we're going to see a lot of the 3s on Thursday. They didn't get any work in this practice.
Yeah.
In team drills. So
who's least likely among non-quarterbacks and non-specialists?
Non-quarterbacks, non-specialists.
Like Brandon Graham. He's not.
Well, you know what? Someone mentioned BG today for that, but like he's always trash talking and it's always like lovable trash talking.
Right.
But if you don't know him,
yeah,
and if you're like an offensive lineman who's having a bad day, you'd be like, is this guy talking trash to me without realizing it's just BG and he's like laughing the whole
I guess
time?
There's that.
Yeah. So I think he's more likely than you would think. Still pretty unlikely, but least likely. The new defensive tackle they just brought in, who doesn't even know like how to get in the building.
Could be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That break, Rube, reminded me we didn't do our stupid observation.
No, your stupid observation.
My stupid observation of the day. We already talked about it. It's just that it's nighttime and I don't like change. And I really did this on my walk in. I always say hi to all security people, and I normally say good morning. So I kept saying good morning, and I felt like an idiot every time.
Wisdom teeth, idiot.
Mm-hmm. There's something there.
I got nothing to say.
Who'd you talk to after practice?
Talked to Greg Ward for a bit, who, I'm a big Greg Ward fan. I just admire everything about him, his approach. He's in his 7th training camp. Well, he missed camp last year. He was hurt. But it's his 7th year that he's here. And we kind of all got reminded on Saturday that he's a good receiver. He's not fast. He's not big. But if you're Marcus Mariota and you want to complete passes, throw it to 84. He's going to catch it. He's smart. I mean, he just his odds of playing this year are minimal. But his approach is great. He takes it seriously. He talks about just improving every day, and even being in this for 7 years, how much better he feels like he can get. And he was asked about his, like, do you worry about the roster and how many? He's like, no, I don't care about that. He said, all I care about is getting better. You can tell he spent a lot of time around Jalen. He and Jalen are gotten really close. And
I think he's always had that personality, though. I think,
like, he even he said, what is it that Jalen says? Keep the main thing, or whatever. Like, he quotes Jalen, and he talks like him now. But if you're going to emulate someone, but he's very serious. He says, all I worried about is getting better, and everything else will take care of itself. And I just have a lot of admiration for the way he goes about his business. And there's no doubt in my mind that if they needed a slot and all their slots were hurt, he could come in and catch 4 balls for 35 yards and be in the right place and not drop anything and move the sticks. And he won't get the opportunity, but he might never play in the league again. I think he knows that, but he said it's a blessing just to be here, just to have the opportunity to be a Philadelphia Eagle for another training camp. And he hadn't played, he said, like, since the end of 2021 season until Saturday. So it was the first time he'd been on the field in a long time, and he just talked about how special it is just to get another chance to play football.
Yeah, it's tough to not root for Greg Ward.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And then talked to Cam a little bit, and he was
Cam Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens. Yeah.
Just making sure people know who you're talking about.
Yeah, not Cam Newton.
Yeah. I don't know. He's the right guard.
About, when camp started, we all kind of thought he was going to compete with Tyler Steen a little bit, at least some. Obviously hasn't happened. He was asked about that, and he said, I still don't think of myself as having won anything. He said, I guess the fact that I didn't play Saturday tells you they saw something in me that they like. So he allowed that. But he said
it's hard to ignore at that point.
Yeah, he said his mentality hasn't changed. He's still just trying to improve and trying to get better and just chip away. He said, I'm just kind of trying to chip away each day. And he feels like he's improved. And, he's a confident kid. I asked him about Tyler Steen. He really raved about him and just how unusual it is for a young kid to come in and play guard. And all of a sudden, even though he did play tackle in college, to just move, you're trying to learn a new position in the NFL at a new level, and then just to go learn another position while simultaneously still trying to get better at guard. He said that's a really special thing. And he says he loves talking football with Tyler Steen. He says it's really cool when someone loves football as much as you do and loves talking about football. He said we speak the same language. We could talk about football, all day. And He just talked about his footwork and his quickness. So he moves his feet very fast. He keeps his feet on the ground, and he's smart. He sees stuff you don't see, and you can talk football to him. You can tell when you can talk football to somebody, they're talking your language. So he's a big fan. I like Steen. I think he's not going to be starting, but man, he looks really comfortable at tackle.
He does. He looks more comfortable there.
Yeah, and I mean he's played there more. But I still think if Kelsey retires and Cam goes to center, I think Steen would have a really good chance of being a decent right guard.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's like he can only play tackle.
And he's got a year before that's going to happen.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. Who knows?
That's good. That's good. I talked to Jordan Davis a little bit. Mentioned his confidence is just so much higher than it was a year ago. I think that's just natural. And I've talked to Jordan before about his like imposter syndrome and not believing in himself.
Yeah.
He elaborated a little bit more on that and said it's just something he had to kind of go through. And I don't think he's alone in that. We don't hear guys talk about it that much because they're in the NFL. Like he's a first round pick in the NFL, but I get that. He's getting better with the confidence issues. Talked to him a little bit about playing in 4-man fronts. Sean Desai mentioned it a while back Tracy Rocker mentioned it. That's a big deal. Like getting him in 4-man fronts, it's a big part of his progression as a player because he was really only the nose tackle and 5-man fronts last year. And I don't think there are still a ton of reps for him on third down as like a pass rusher because they have better options, but getting more out of him in 4-man fronts is going to be big.
Yeah. And
I think he has the ability to do that. Talked to Sweat and Reddick a little bit. I had all the defensive linemen today, like a good old D-line day, but talking about the younger teammates is always fun to hear. Reddick is on board with the Mini Hassan moniker for Nolan Smith. And you can tell he enjoys that, being able to mentor young players. And he said he came in the league looking up to players like Von Miller, and then he had Chandler Jones a little bit in Arizona. So he's happy to help Nolan as much as he can. And the similarities are so upfront and obvious with those two. So I thought that was good.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
Did you see that there's a Kelsey documentary coming out on Amazon Prime?
I did not see that.
Okay. Basically, Amazon followed him throughout last year. So it's kind of like almost like the quarterback series on Netflix a little bit, where it's just it follows his journey throughout that Super Bowl season.
Mm.
How many centers would be intriguing enough to have a docuseries about them?
David Molk, probably. Jamal Jackson. Steve Everett. Probably Dave Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Looking forward to seeing that. I always get nervous, though, when there's like a behind-the-scenes anything. Because it's like they have all this access that we don't have. And I'm like, what did I miss?
Right.
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, I remember one thing that I can't remember who it was, and probably NFL Network or NFL Films or whatever was at the NovaCare a few years ago doing something, and there was an interview at someone's locker, and I wish I could remember whose it was. It was probably Carson or Nick or something, and it was like 1 million people gathered around his locker, microphones, cameras, jib mics and all that, and like 50 people, and I'm like 20 feet away just standing there. And like, it looks like I'm not doing my job, although you were probably in the scrum, so I didn't need to be. But yeah, I got a lot of like, how come you were part of that, Rube? What were you doing over there? Like standing in, Cody Parkey's locker. So yeah, but no, I would definitely look forward to that. What a fascinating guy he is.
He is. He's gonna do big things when he's done playing. So that's all I have. I'm beating myself up about my Sewell Petta pick.
You can change it.
No, I have to.
No, change it. Who do you want?
We need to have some integrity.
I'm allowing you to change it.
Okay. If you're going to allow me to change it.
Until the podcast is over, you can change it.
Okay. I'm going to move him out. I'm going to take Mekhi Gardner.
I watched Sue get into a brawl.
Sue, the more I think about Sue, he's like the nicest person ever.
Yeah.
He's not going to fight anyone.
No. Mekhi Gardner it is.
Okay. I feel better about that. Thank
I
you.
kind of want to change my.
You can change one. You sure?
No, I'm sticking to my guns. I like my picks.
Okay, you have good picks. I had good picks aside from Sua. I panicked and I locked myself into an offensive lineman. Then I went Sua. I could have gone Kelsey. I mean, he's got a short fuse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think he would stop himself before he got in a fight.
He might brawl himself.
He'd start kicking trash cans.
Could happen.
All right, you got anything else?
I might take Jack Stahl instead of Jalen Carter.
We better hurry up. This podcast about to end.
We'll take Jack Stahl.
Jack Stahl instead of Jalen Carter. A last-second switch.
You're going to switch. I'm going to switch.
There you go. Jalen Carter, Sua Opeta fight coming tomorrow.
No question
on
about
Tuesday.
it.
If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe there as well. It's a late night pod. We'll have another late night pod.
Good morning
for you on Tuesday, and then the game coming Thursday. So a lot of fun stuff in store. That's it for Reuben. I'm Dave. This has been Eagle Eye. We'll talk to you soon.